Okay, terrific. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erin Millen. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission here at Colgate. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar on understanding the liberal arts. I'm an Associate Dean of Admission here and a co-director of Ciccone Commons, which was one of our 4 residential commons. And I also oversee recruitment for upstate New York. So if you're joining us from upstate New York, I'm really glad that you're here, but no matter where you're coming from, glad that you could join us this afternoon. This webinar will be about 30 minutes. I'm going to ask 2 of our amazing summer interns who are current students, Tim and Sonia, introduce themselves. And then after they do that, we'll jump in. I'll do a bit of talking to talk a little bit about what understanding liberal arts, what liberal arts at Colgate looks like, and then you'll hear from our students to get a sense of what their experience and perspective is in terms of going to a liberal arts institution like Colgate. So Tim, I'm going to go over to you first. Could you say hello and introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, everyone. I'm Tim Vidding. I'm a rising sophomore here at Colgate. I'm originally from Rochester in the UK, so I'm an international student. I'm planning on majoring in mathematical economics and Russian Eurasian studies, but I'm still currently undeclared, so I have time to do that until my sophomore spring, which is really cool. And currently, some of my main activities on campus, I'm on the tennis team here, so that's my main commitment. But I've also done some ESPN production stuff, so filming and producing some of the college sports on campus. And I've also done some research last semester as well.
Terrific. Thanks so much, Tim. Sonia.
Cool. Hi, my name's Sonia. I'm from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and I'm a rising junior here at Colgate. I'm majoring in environmental biology, and I'm a mathematics minor as well. Like Tim, I'm also on a sports team. I'm on the track and field team here. And I'm also involved in, aside from admissions, I'm also involved in the Clay Club here on campus, and I'm also, I work with our WRCU radio station. So yeah.
Sonia, do you currently have a radio show this summer or just during the academic year?
I do have a radio show this summer. It starts at 5 p.m. So right after this webinar, actually. So just an hour, but it's been fun.
Great, very good. Well, we'll jump in then. Like I said before, I wanted to talk a little bit more about liberal arts in the core curriculum here at Colgate. And we invite you to drop questions into the Q&A feature. Tim and Sonia and myself will dip into that to answer questions, and then we'll save some to answer live too at the end of the webinar. But what I hope to talk about is what is liberal arts? What does its structure look like? How we approach it? Talk a little bit about the residential aspect and the residential experience and how that connects to the liberal arts, and then finally, what's it like to be in the classroom? So in terms of what it is, liberal arts, it's neither a political ideology, liberal or conservative, right? It has that word liberal in it, nor is it singularly focused on the arts. It's really liberal in terms of the way it sort of broadens your mind and how you get a very broad global education here. Arts really refers to craft, skill, and practice. And so our core curriculum really prompts students to take classes where they'll satisfy different skills that they need to really sort of launch into their major and launch into things like research and campus study. In terms of its structure, liberal arts is a way of organizing human knowledge into manageable pieces. So that could be disciplinary, which is majors and minors, versus interdisciplinary. Some of our majors that we have here at Colgate are very interdisciplinary. So you're taking classes across the departments and across the division here. What I really love about Colgate is I love reading your applications, learning about what you're interested in, but you can come to Colgate and you can pursue that, but you might find another interest or talent you didn't even realize that you had before, and you can pursue that. There's flexibility for you to do that here. And I think the core curriculum and the areas of inquiry that you pursue, it really prompts students to explore, and it gives you time to really confirm what your interests are and what you'll focus on, especially junior and senior year. In terms of how we approach liberal arts, each college approaches liberal arts a little differently. And you've been hearing me make mention of something called the core curriculum, and that really anchors your liberal arts experience here. Finally, being residential, that's a big part of who we are. We're a residential liberal arts and sciences institution. Finally, classrooms here, just like you come to Colgate, just like I'm sure Tim and Sonia, something that informed your choice is really getting to know faculty. And so classes here are small. They're really dynamic. Students are engaged. Many of them are discussion based. And the ones that are led by faculty, I should say, they're faculty taught classes. All of our classes are taught by faculty. Our faculty are amazing teachers and scholars, so they really share their knowledge, research, and questions with all of you. So the classroom experience is really amazing. I want to say one more thing before I'm going to turn things over to Tim and Sonia with some questions that I have. The economic value. Unlike other educational systems, students do not need to decide future career paths immediately, but can explore and be exposed to new areas. We have an amazing career development program that is a comprehensive 4-year plan so that students can really start thinking about what they might do during their time at Colgate and after as well. So they're really prepared for the world. Our liberal arts curriculum and our career development program features job shadowing experiences, internships, pre-professional programs, dual degree programs that really allow for flexibility as you're considering different career options. Our alums love this place, and so I think they're really invaluable mentors as well to students as they're sort of thinking about what am I going to do after I walk across the stage after my 4 years here at Colgate. So finally, liberal arts graduates are able to think critically and express their views convincingly, persuasively, and I think that when you come to liberal arts institution, you really learn how to think, to ask questions, to really grapple with some big questions and ideas. And I think students are really excited about where they're at throughout their time here in terms of what they're learning and how they're being challenged and how they're excited about what they're learning. So I hope that provides you a bit of an overview of a small residential liberal arts institution, what that means and what it looks like at Colgate. And now I want to ask Sonia and Tim to talk a little bit about why did you choose to attend a liberal arts college? And Tim, why don't you go ahead and start? So why did you choose to attend Colgate, which is a liberal arts institution?
So, to be honest, I had a wide range of reasons for sure. But for any international students that might be on the call, I definitely wanted to come to the US and keep my options open. So in the UK, it would have been definitely more locked into one area of study, and having those options open was really nice for me. But even all those domestic students, yeah, having a liberal arts college experience has been really nice. I've been able to take class in areas I never thought that I would. And to be very honest with everyone on the call, I'm not someone who has a very broad range of interests, but I definitely would rather keep them open than not have them at all. So that's kind of what I've found taking some of the liberal arts practices classes while being at Colgate. They've sparked interest that I never thought I had before. And yeah, it's mainly just that kind of ability to be able to take classes that I wouldn't have been able to. Especially if I went to a UK college or university.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Sonia, tell us a little bit about why you chose to attend a liberal arts institution.
Yeah, I felt like when I was looking at schools, obviously everyone has their specific interest or something they might be more drawn towards, passion-wise. But I feel like it's a little ridiculous to expect people to know what they want to do coming straight out of high school or even to just stick to one path. And I feel like the liberal arts curriculum, especially at Colgate, allows you, even if you do know what you want to major in, you can kind of explore things outside of that and take classes that you're just interested in, regardless of whether they're leading towards a specific career path or anything. So I feel like it kind of just gives you a space to explore yourself, explore what you might be interested in. Also, I've always really valued close relationships with professors. I think, like Aaron said, that's a very big part of the liberal arts curriculum in general, especially with getting extensions or needing help. They're very accommodating for things like that. I'm sure Tim can agree, as student athletes, we have to take a lot of time off from school. And the teachers and everyone have been so accommodating on things like that, which makes you feel very cared about as a student. And feeling that support can only help your academics at the end of the day.
Sonia and Tim, can you make mention of some of those faculty by name? Who are some of your favorite professors or professors that have been really impactful in terms of your Colgate experience?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to jump in and mention about what Sonia said with having those close relationships with professors. Whilst I've never had dinner with a professor, I've had so many stories from my friends that have. So that's a really common theme. But I've taken some of my Russian language classes, and all the professors I've interacted with there have been incredible points of contact, whether that's actually just learning about the Russian language or kind of outside that area. They promote a lot of clubs on campus as well and kind of getting involved. And a lot of our professors are obviously local as well. So you'll be able to kind of engage with the community through them as well. So that's kind of my favorite thing. I mean, to name professors, that's actually tough one to remember what my professor names. I had Professor Early last semester. I've heard great things about my next semester's Russian professor, Professor Domoshenko. He's apparently the best, so I'm kind of looking forward to taking a class with him.
Yeah, and as for me, I have actually a very specific story about this with Professor Cardelus within the biology department. I was a plain environmental studies major coming into this year, and I wasn't her advisee. She had never had a class with me. She didn't know me at all. And I was interested in doing her research opportunity. So I reached out to her, and in our interview for that research appointment, she actually gave me a lot of advice on my major, kind of hearing the path I wanted to go into environmental wise. And she kind of urged me to switch to environmental biology, and it's been the most amazing decision I've made. She also, in that same meeting, she extended a deadline for this study abroad opportunity that I'm now doing in Peru next year. The deadline had passed like months prior, but she thought that I would be really interested in it. So she went the extra mile to do that for me, even though she really didn't have to. I had never met her before. So just feeling that support from someone who had previously been a stranger was really great.
Perfect. Thank you both. How have you taken advantage of interdisciplinary opportunities or courses in different divisions other than your major? Who wants to talk about that question?
I can start us off. I mean, there's a slightly different answer to that question for me. So, I never expected to take Russian classes at Colgate. I did the Spanish placement test to do a semester of Spanish language classes here at Colgate. But I mentioned I was fluent in Russian as my first language. My parents are from Estonia, so I was placed into a Russian class, and I found the language classes easy because I was fluent, but it then developed into an interest. So I am now going to be taking the core Russian class. I might take some film and media studies classes and slowly build up a minor. And also, I'm looking to double major as well now. So I definitely didn't come into college thinking that I'd have two big areas of interest and two majors. That's definitely not something I was thinking about doing. And again, I wouldn't have been able to do that in the UK. But yeah, otherwise, I've been able to take different classes in different areas. Like next semester, I'll be taking what is modern art for the artistic practices liberal arts requirement, which is going to be nice. I haven't taken any kind of art class for many years, to be honest. So yeah, being able to kind of dip your toes in kind of different areas of Colgate has been really, really informative and kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different areas.
Yeah, I would say beyond my major, especially with our areas of inquiry that kind of help you dip your toes in a lot of different places. I got to explore a lot of sociology and philosophy classes, which are really interesting. I also think those are two disciplines that kind of inform a lot of the ways that people interact with each other. So it kind of gave me space to like learn about things and learn about how people interact with each other, which has been great, which are also things that apply everywhere. Beyond that, too, similar to Tim, I have a big passion in music. It's not something I'm looking to pursue career-wise. It's just one of my favorite things. And I got to take a lot of music classes on this campus. I just took a history of rock and roll class last semester, which was super fun, and it kind of allowed me to explore that passion even beyond like my major or anything like that. So, yeah.
A question came in with some more specific questions about our core curriculum. So I dropped in the chat a link to a couple web pages that you can check out, but one of them gives you an overview of the core curriculum. Very quickly, just to provide you what that looks like. Our core curriculum, our liberal arts core curriculum, features a first-year seminar and a living learning workshop. A first-year seminar is a course every first year will take, and the professor of that class is the student's advisor until they declare a major. You'll also live with your classmates who are in that class in the same residential commons. In terms of the liberal arts core components, those include core communities, core conversations, and core sciences. And you'll find that there are, on this webpage that you can check out, there is a list of sample courses that would satisfy those particular liberal arts core components. From there, the focus is on practices, the different skills that we encourage, skills and habits of mind that are really essential to finding success that we want our Colgate students to invest in. And that does include language study. Areas of inquiry, again, those span the different departments and division, physical education and wellness. And then finally, there is a seminar in the liberal arts core that would lead towards distinction. So that was a very fast overview, but even though there are many different components, I think that there is a lot of flexibility in terms of how you satisfy those different components and what that looks like. So each student's experience in the core is unique, even though there will be consistent designations or some consistent classes on their transcripts. So I'm just curious, Sonia and Tim, in terms of core communities and identities, core sciences, have you taken those courses? What courses have you taken to satisfy those core components?
Yeah, I can start this off. I also just saw one of the questions that says, what's the most interesting class you've taken? Which these go hand in hand, so I love to talk about it. My favorite class I've taken on this campus was my core communities, which was core wilderness, where we learned about the native tribes that reside in the Adirondacks, which was really great just because we're so close proximity to them. And we also we got to do a hiking trip at the end of the semester, 3 days up there where we got to look around and kind of explore the land that we were learning about. So that was my core communities and my favorite class I've taken. And my core science was a biology of invasive species class, which again kind of pertained to my major. So I love those classes.
Yeah, similarly to what Sanya said at the end, my core science class definitely pertains to my major as well. I was able to take a class called Stats in Real Life for towards my econ major. So that's kind of one way that you can take science class at Colgate and have them double check for different areas of inquiry. And that's definitely one of my favorite classes I've taken so far. I'm definitely not huge into like natural sciences, if you're saying biology, chemistry, that kind of stuff. So kind of the usefulness of having a core science, it's definitely a big umbrella term. So people will take psychology courses. I've heard about people that have meditation integrated into their class time, which has been pretty cool. So there's definitely those options. And for core communities, I'm yet to take the core communities. I'm going to be taking core Russia for my Russian minor or major. So that's kind of again a way that I'm going to be double checking that criteria. But I've heard many stories about core Peru, core India, Native Americans in Oklahoma. There's such a wide range of different studies of different communities all around the world.
Perfect. Thank you both. Let's see. Final question, and then I want us to jump into thank you for all of you who are participating in today's webinar, attending today's webinar, and posting your questions in the Q&A feature. We'll get to the other questions that have come in, but before we do that, I did want to pose one final question to Sonia and Tim. What do you see as the biggest advantages to attending a liberal arts institution?
I would say the overwhelming support above anything. I feel like I mentioned before, I feel very supported by faculty here, not only in them wanting me to take their classes or support within their specific classes, but like the anecdote I said about Professor Cardelus earlier, honestly, just trying to support you in whatever path you want to go into. I feel like Colgate has fostered a very like uplifting community of people that really want to help each other wherever they end up going. And I think that's something that's very unique about liberal arts is that you can kind of explore and then fine tune when you want. It also kind of allows you to dip your toes into different groups of people and learn about their story and things like that. since you're not just enclosed in one specific area. So I would say that's my favorite part.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's definitely things that me and Sonia have already mentioned in terms of keeping your options open in different areas of study. Um, for example, I was able to do research with a Russian professor, and Russian is definitely not going to be my main major as such. It's not like my main focus. You're able to do research or extended studies in areas that aren't your kind of primary goal, maybe outside of Colgate after you finish college. But I mean, being such a small liberal arts college with such great resources, you're able to be published on papers at undergraduate level with your professors. So that's kind of a huge advantage that you won't necessarily get at some of the larger schools, or sometimes it's the same as being postgraduate at some other schools. So yeah, being able to actually have those positions, even in an area like Russian, I was able to help my professor because they needed a fluent Russian speaker to help with the documents that he was going through for his project. So it was an area that I was really interested in, but definitely don't necessarily see myself working in the future. But yeah.
Terrific. Thank you both. Let's turn to the questions we've received in the Q&A feature. And again, I invite you to post a question about Colgate, our liberal arts experience, the core curriculum. And we'll start with, this one is kind of unrelated, but I think it's really, really important, right? Is it hard finding things to do in Hamilton? Do you find yourselves going to larger areas, or are there events and other things to do? You know, I would say that our location is a real asset because you have to be intentional in terms of coming to Colgate and living here on campus for 4 years. And that's the same thing goes for faculty and students. But yeah, the same thing goes for faculty and staff. Just like students, there's a really strong sense of community here in terms of how we build our home and community here. But Tim and Sonia, what was on your mind when you knew you would be coming to Colgate in the village of Hamilton, New York?
Yeah, kind of building off what Erin was just saying about like the intentionality of all of it. I feel like Colgate really draws in a very specific person that is willing to put themselves out there and kind of go into communities they haven't really explored before. So obviously the remote location, I came from a city, Cambridge is it's close to Boston. I'm used to a very like bustling atmosphere where there's a lot of like external stimulus and kind of things to do all the time. So obviously this location, this remote was kind of a big switch for me. But I think it really gives you a chance to involve yourself on campus. Also, obviously, Colgate faculty understand that this location is remote, so they try and keep events, clubs, organizations, having things going on campus. I feel like when you really kind of utilize all the opportunities on campus, you will never be bored. There's plenty of things to do here, which is great.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo the fact that you'll never kind of get bored while you're on campus. There's so much to do, and kind of that's part of the reason why there's so much funding in clubs and organizations on campus. The typical conversation that you have with any peer on Colgate, at Colgate, is that they're involved in, let's say, three different things. This could be three, this could be 10, this could be a limitless amount. So you'll always be talking to people that are interested in different areas of study, different kind of sports, different activities, and there are so many opportunities for that. This is what we always say, but if there isn't a club or activity that you're interested in, Colgate will definitely be able to fund it if you bring that idea to life and you're passionate about it. Our student government are really strong about kind of approving those kind of ideas. But yeah, I tend to say that you forget that you're in a remote location because there's so much to do. You don't have to go into a big city to do that. You just get involved on campus in anything that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be extremely social. It could be in a group of 5 to 10 people. It could be something that's more widely kind of like everyone is really enjoying to be a part of. So we have like ski club, which is probably one of our biggest clubs. So it can range for sure.
Terrific. Thank you both. Um, let's see, and we have another question about campus diversity. Could you also share your insights on campus diversity and what it's like for students of color to find their sense of belonging here? I just wanted to share before I turn it over to Tim and Sonia for their perspective. We have about 3,200 students here at Colgate. 26% of our students identify as domestic students of color, 8% are international, and 13% are first generation college students. What I would say in order for this whole enterprise to work in terms of what we've been talking about, the core curriculum and liberal arts and the classroom experience at Colgate, when you come to Colgate, we want you to be your whole self and bring your whole self because classes here are small. And one of the ways that students learn and that we learn from one another is really learning from maybe your classmate or roommate who has had maybe perhaps a very different 17 or 18 years of lived experience than yourself. And part of our job here at Colgate is to really sort of facilitate those meaningful connections and conversations and help students find community. And students find that in a number of ways. As I mentioned during my introduction, I'm one of the co-directors for Chicony Commons. So part of my job is to make sure that if a student is, they've worked really hard to get here, they've heard about all these great opportunities, how do they, what does that first step look like? Who do they need to talk to? Who do they need to find? Part of my job is to help students to connect with faculty and administrators, to connect with spaces on campus, like the chaplain's office, the Awana Cultural Center, the Center for LGBTQ plus initiatives. And I think our student leaders as well, they really step into leadership roles that are real and authentic to create community through the different clubs, organizations, affinity groups that they might be leading. So those are some of the things that I think of when I think about campus diversity and when I think about what it's like for students of color to find their sense of belonging here. I encourage you as well. Sonia and Tim are two of some really fantastic current students and summer interns that you can reach out to, that you can email with your questions as well. So I'm going to drop their contact information in the chat, and you're welcome to reach out to them and any of our summer interns here on campus. But Sonia and Tim, what would you add about campus diversity and belonging here at Colgate?
To start it off, so I am a first generation international student, so I had a lot of, I guess, my cultural identity to bring to campus. But yeah, there's so many social hubs and activities for people of color, for people with different cultures and identities that are coming to campus. Alana Cultural Center being one of them. We had lunch just last week with the admissions team there. We had some great Indonesian cuisine for us, which was amazing. But that will be happening. There's almost a different kind of cultural activity every 2 days. From when we were there, we were speaking to some of the leaders up there. And yeah, you can bring your own culture and background and teach people about it. You can cook your own food. You can go and learn about everyone else's identities as well. So that's a great place. And overall, just throughout campus, like you won't see international students just sticking together, for example, or people with a certain identity just sticking together. You have that integration throughout campus, which is really nice. And that goes for everything. Like athletes aren't just all together. People that are interested in music or arts aren't just all together. There's a real kind of mixture around. So you definitely get that feel of learning about everyone's different kind of cultures and backgrounds, which I really like. My biggest motivation for that is definitely the food. I'm a big foodie, so if you're interested in having different kind of cuisines, that's kind of my favorite thing.
Yeah, kind of building off of what Tim was saying, our campus is very good at mixing different groups of people in a lot of different ways. Alana is also very good about celebrating heritage and things like that. They have over 100 events they put on in just a single semester, and they're kind of really well integrated into this campus. I also feel like Colgate kind of wants to hear diverse perspectives. They want to hear from different kinds of students. They're very big on people expressing their own views and getting their voices heard. So, and also they're very good about like people that are ambitious and want to bring things to our campus. So even if there's not something you may be seeing, you can bring it. They're very receptive to different things like that, which is great.
Tim and Sonia, thank you so much for providing that insight. And while you were sharing your perspective, I was able to drop a few more links into the chat. You can see that a couple of those are the opportunities to contact a current student. The Alana Cultural Center, which you've heard us refer to, is an amazing space and hub on campus in terms of different programming, in terms of the different clubs and organizations they advise. There's classroom space, there's a lounge space, and they have amazing leadership team, full-time staff, but also really amazing student leaders as well. And then I also dropped a link to the residential commons too. So what I will encourage you to do, because we are approaching 4:30, is if we did not get to your question, I encourage you to email your question to one of the current students, and then I will also provide you with my email. So as I'm typing that, I'm going to ask Tim and Sonia, any final thoughts in terms of your academic experience here at Colgate, and specifically your liberal arts experience in the core curriculum? What do you want to leave our prospective students with?
Yeah, I think Colgate does a very good job of really representing that liberal arts curriculum. I think we also differ from a lot of liberal arts schools because we have the resources and the want to support your students as much as you can, especially with like career-wise post-grad situations. I feel like they're very good at having a mix of the more liberal arts holistic approach to academics while also having a very strong career opportunity and alumni network. So I would say those two things together makes it very special. And it's kind of something you can't find at most other universities, is that mix of liberal arts and such a strong network post-grad, which is amazing.
Yeah, I fully agree. I believe it's mainly just the amount of resources that we have available to us. Sometimes feels unfair because we have a small student body and we get all these resources all kind of left for us. Some schools will have this amount of resources for many more thousands of students. So it does feel really nice to have it here at Colgate. So yeah, from the diversity to the small class sizes to the professional pathways as well. We have so much to do at Colgate as well as post Colgate as well.
Tim, I think that's a really great note to end on. You know, there's so many resources, but there's so much left to do. And one of the things that I want to also make mention is our third century plan. And as a result of our third century plan here at Colgate, we've opened 2 new buildings. One was renovated and expanded as part of our Mind, Brain, and Behavior initiative in Olin Hall. And then our middle campus for arts, creativity, and innovation is anchored by Bernstein Hall. So again, I think it is a really exciting time to be a Colgate student because of the way the university is investing in classroom, lab, and research space. So, all right. Well, that brings us to the end of today's webinar. Our next webinar is on July 8th. It will focus on the applications that are coming up. It's an application preview. And then finally, academics at Colgate will have some faculty members joining us to talk a little bit more about their perspective and experience in the core research and off-campus study. Again, thank you to all of you for joining us today. Thank you so much, Tim and Sonia. I feel so lucky that we have such amazing students like you. I'm so glad that you're here. And we encourage you to continue to ask questions, email us, visit campus this summer if you can. And also, we hope that you'll consider attending some of the webinars that are coming up. But thanks so much. Bye, everyone.